Okay, well, I kind of first wanted to start by jogging your memory a little bit. You said that you were enlisted.
Yeah.
Why did you, why is it so?
Well, when I was a kid growing up, I was a Cub Scout, Boy Scout, Sea Scout, Civil Patrol, and all my uncles on my mother's side were all World War II vets. She had 5 brothers that were in World War II.
Okay.
So, then as of course when you learn Cub Scout, Boy Scouts, Sea Scouts, and then Civil Patrol, you know what Civil Patrol is?
Mm-hmm.
Well, you kind of get a little bit of military background, and then you listen to your uncles. And then now when you're in the high school now, I don't know if they teach history in high schools anymore or even American history. They were teaching World War II history by the time the Korean War was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And so I was learning a little bit of World War II in high school when I was going through Sea Scouts and Civil Patrol. And then, of course, Boy Scouts was in there a little bit too in high school, I think. Yeah. So, well, it was like I'm going to go in the Army.
Mm-hmm.
I did try to go in the Navy. But the reason why I didn't go in the Navy, we were on a sailboat up in Lake Cuca. It was the Finger Lakes up there.
Okay.
And Lake Cuca is this one here. This is the longest one, Lake Seneca.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, it's a Boy Scout camp. And Sea Scouts, So anyway, when they teach you to do the sailboats, they tell you to do the sails, to catch the wind, and then the rudder, your steering. It was a pretty good sized sailboat. But everybody that was supposed to get up here, if the sail's going to tip over, everybody's got to get up here to upright it. Well, when I was doing this with my hands and couldn't get it right, it was going more and more and more like this. And everybody dove in and left me going down with the ship by myself. What I did was I let go of the sails and the rudder. I let go and the wind corrected it. So these guys were in the water and I'm still in the
You didn't join the Navy?
No, I didn't do it. But back then I didn't know how to swim, but now I learned how to swim.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I ended up in the Army.
How old were you when you enlisted?
I was 19.
So why did you pick the branch of service you joined?
Well, I wanted the Army, because I didn't want to go down with no ship.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I ended up, see, when you're in high school, I was in math, sciences.
Mm-hmm.
I was in alt trig, advanced trig, geometry. The only one I didn't have was calculus in my senior year, because I took French in my senior year. So I was in the sciences all the way through, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior. When I took the test in December of 1960, I ended up maxing it, almost maxing it, and they put me in the nuclear weapons field. And I said, what's that? Well, I got selected by the Department of the Army. They tell you, a high school graduate, they check your background. FBI goes through the whole thing, for the first 4 years. So the government's got a lot of money invested in it. But then when the war came along, I was in Italy when I heard about Vietnam. And I just re-enlisted. I said, what war? What? What's going on?
So how did it feel like to enlist? What did you feel in that moment?
Well, I have a little sense of a little bit of security because I got a job now.
Mm-hmm.
When I got out of high school, I was doing landscaping and clean-up jobs. So, but then I started getting interested more and more sciences and working, but then again, I wasn't going anywhere, so I enlisted. And I didn't know I was supposed to register for the draft when I got out, so I didn't register, and I didn't get notified until I got sent to Italy in 1962. My mother writes me a letter, says, the draft board's here. And, well, tell them I'm in the military now. Everybody had to go, back then, everybody had to go to the military. When they got out. Or if you were in college, then you get a deferment. But everybody had to enlist. I did mine early, so I could get and I started.
Okay. So do you remember boot camp and your training experience?
Oh, yes. Yeah.
Okay, what are some memorable things about that?
Well, when they threw a grenade over the hill, I was on the side of a hill, like a valley. We were on top, in the middle, about halfway down. When they throw a grenade over the hill, you don't know. Back then they had puppet tests, and I'm sure these big. Have you seen the new troops now from Afghanistan and Iraq? That round thing on the back, I'm sure that's their pup tent too. It takes two to make a pup tent. So you got to pair up with somebody. Well, when I got that grenade thrown over, I ripped the pup tent. I came out of that thing and I tore up his half and my half.
Okay.
And I mean, it scared me. I never got woke up that way.
Yeah.
So anyway, then it says, recruit Mark, report to the CP tent. I kept hollering around, hey, what's a CP? Anybody know? Nope.
Nobody knew.
Well, it's a command post, and it's a tent way up on the hill.
Okay.
I didn't know I was going to be interviewed by the FBI back then until I got up to the top of the hill. You had to get up there, and they take me in an army sedan, and then they take me to the FBI building. But I got to see the Fort Knox. I took basic at Fort Knox. I saw the depository. So I asked the driver, I said, what's that little building there with all that fencing around? He said, that's where all the gold is. I said, what, that little building?
So where did you go through boot camp?
Fort Knox, Kentucky.
Okay. How long did it take for you to?
2 months.
2 months?
Yeah.
Did you learn how to shoot and all that?
Oh yeah. You can't read basic until you shoot. You gotta at least have a sharpshooter.
So when you got finished with it, how did it feel? Did you feel confident about your skills and everything?
Yeah, that particular part of it. You have to learn how to read a map. They give you a map and tell you to go out there and find your way. Because later on in my military career, I had to learn it again.
Okay.
I said, what? I forgot all about it. I was in my 15th year when I went to the NCO Academy. I already been to Vietnam, but everybody was getting promoted over me were in the NCO Academy graduate, so I went. And a lot of things have changed, in those years. But the map reading was basically reading the compass, the terrain and all this. But I did max that part. But from 15 years ago, and then you got to go back through it again. I said, what? I forgot a few things, Yeah, but it was that really gave me more confidence when you do that. So I was ready to go back to Vietnam again, but by that time it was all over. But then I went back into nuclear weapons.
Okay.
So when I retired out of Huntsville, nuclear weapons was still there. Now the Army has none. They get rid of all the missiles.
Okay. So when you got out of boot camp, where did you go first?
Well, I went to Fort Monmouth, New Jersey, the signal school.
Okay.
Yeah, you had to learn how to build a heterodyne. You know what a heterodyne is? It's a radio.
Okay. What a big word for such a simple thing.
Yes. Well, heterodyne, it all comes down to the motor. But the radio is what I had to learn how to build a radio. This resistor, this capacitor, this tube, put the you know, the math together and figure out how the current was going to go through.
Is that basic training for everybody, or
Yeah,
just for specific
well,
for
for
you?
electronics, you know, if I was going to be a radio man, then I would have to go through the same school. Or
Well, what?
if
Yeah, what decides if you're a electronic person, or like how do you get separated into divisions?
the math when I was in basic training.
Okay.
I mean, before I went in the service, they gave you all these tests.
Okay.
The math.
Mhm.
So if you had the math down tight, you know, geometry, trigonometry, all the biggest top math, then you can pick up on it. I said, boy, that teacher I had for math, she really...
She beat it into you.
Yeah, she beat it in me.
So when you got out of boot camp, what year was it?
1961.
And then after you finished all your training, where was the first place you were like on active duty?
Seneca Army Depot.
Where was it?
Seneca Army Depot, which is on the Finger Lakes,
Okay.
Lake Seneca. That's at the far end.
So when did you get to Vietnam?
I went to Vietnam in 1971.
Okay. So what exactly did you go through there? What did you do while you were in Vietnam?
Well, I was supposed to set up the platoon that I was in charge of repaired all the radios. In other words, Vietnam started to slowly reduce the American forces. So all the radios that the Americans had, we had to repair them. Not only radios, but there was a lot of other things. Typewriters, tents, vehicles, Jeeps, deuce and a halves, 5 tons, cranes, you know, that stuff was being turned over to my battalion. But my company was electronics, so the other 3 companies that were taking care of the vehicles to turn them over to the ARVN, they call them ARVN because the Army of the Republic of Vietnam.
So how old were you when you got to Vietnam?
I was 29.
29. And do you remember arriving? Like, what was it like when you first saw everything and got there?
I got scared.
You got scared?
Yeah, the Air Force flew at treetop level, and I thought that was kind of not too kosher being in combat, because I was looking out the window. I was, dang, come on, pilot, get it up. I was scared because, well, when I left Orlando, I came to Orlando in 1971, before Walt Disney World opened up. And they opened up in October of 71. I came here in March. First time I was ever in Florida. Left my family here. When I got down to the airport, I had to walk out to the plane. I didn't think I was ever coming back. You know, you get that feeling, you know, especially, you know, back then in those days, you would hear 500 to 800 a week being killed over there. So I thought I'd be one of them too, but...
So you were leaving behind your family and everything?
Yeah.
Did you have any children at the time? Or?
Yeah, I had one little boy. He's the oldest one now.
Okay.
Yeah, he was about a year and a half. That was rough. When I came home for R&R, Disney World was already open, October 3rd, I think. And I came back about the 3rd week, and I tried to sleep with Mama. My little son was not going to have nothing to do with it. That's my mama.
Yeah.
So I had to sleep by myself, because then the screen door slammed shut. It was in October. You know, a little wind when the screen door slammed out on the, you know, on the porch. I dove underneath the bed because it scared the heck. You know, you get shell shock.
Yeah.
Even sometimes today, even right now, if there's something slammed real bad, I'll be diving under this table, you know, until I realize, well, I'm in the wrong. I'm in a safe place, you know.
Did you experience any like post-traumatic stress when you came back, or?
None that I know of.
So you didn't seek any therapy, or you just kind of handled it with your family?
Yeah.
Okay. So while you were in Vietnam, did you see combat, obviously, or?
Well, no, I was on the bunker line every day. Later on, when the first sergeant came in to relieve me. It was Christmas Eve. I was first sergeant 3 different times, but the last time was Christmas Eve of 1971, and I was supposed to march the company to the Bob Hope show. I don't know if you ever heard of that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. But I didn't make it because I was so excited about the E8 coming in to relieve me because I had a scary, 6 months there.
Yeah.
But he said all the troops got there by themselves. Anyway, it was only about, like from here to 434.
So while you were in Vietnam, you primarily just did electronic type stuff, or?
Yeah, well, other than being a pencil pusher and trying to take care of the troops, make sure they get that 425 men you're responsible for. You want to make sure they come home. But then there's some that I didn't lose any per se. There's a couple that went into prison over there.
They were prisoner of war?
No, they were prisoners. They were on drugs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how many people were you in control of or in charge of?
425 men.
Okay. And what was your what was your division called, or did it have a name?
It was a battalion, but the company I was in was the 81st or 147. 147, I think. LEM, they call it Light Equipment Maintenance. LEM company.
Okay.
I was in one in Germany and I was one in Vietnam. I get the numbers. It was either the 147th or the 81st. I think it was the 147th in Vietnam.
Did you ever have to fire your weapon, or did you ever shoot anybody or kill anybody?
No. Thank goodness I didn't have to shoot nobody. I didn't want to. Even though being a nuclear weapon, when you have 2 people, you got a 45. If I looked at this card that was around my neck, he could shoot me, or he opened that card up, I could shoot him. And I'm glad neither one of us. You have to be in sight of each other. You do not. The only way you open this up is the presidential order. Back now, it's more secure than these cards that we used to have to worry back in those days. 62. From 62 to 65, I was in Italy, and that's when I had to wear the cards.
Okay. So when did you start being in charge of the nuclear missiles, or?
62.
Okay.
When I went to Italy, then I came back.
So it was before Vietnam and all that?
Oh yeah, way before Vietnam.
Okay.
And then I went to Niagara Falls. I was at Seneca Army Depot first before I went to Italy. That was nuclear weapons in Seneca. Italy was nuclear weapons. Then Niagara Falls was nuclear weapons. Then as I was getting ready to leave for Germany, they canceled my orders and sent me to Fort Belvoir, and that's when I had to learn mine detectors, metal detectors, searchlights. What was the other one? Searchlights, surveying equipment. It was all electronics. I had to teach the student how to repair them so if anything broke down. Especially metal detectors and mine. You know the difference between metal and mine? Metal detects metal only, but all your explosives today are plastic. So you're not going to detect plastic with a metal detector. So they had what they call it, they differentiated them. Mine detector is, especially in the Army, is somebody disturbs the earth, buries it, puts it on the ground. This probe will sense the density of the earth around that mine. Tell this probe, it's been disturbed, there's a mine down there. That's what I had to teach to these guys.
And that was in Italy and all the other places?
No, it was in Fort Belvoir.
Okay.
That's when I was taken out of nuclear weapons, and then I was put in the engineer corps.
Okay. Were you awarded any medals or citations in your career? Or?
Oh yeah, I got a lot of letters. I was instructor of the month. I was letters of commendation. When I was in Germany, I got a letter of to apply for warrant officer, and I should have, but I didn't. I was only there for 1 year because I got promoted at the engineer school, which changed my MLS, which was my job specialty. When you get a promotion in that field, but they still sent me back to nuclear weapons. So I had 2 MLSs, 2 jobs.
What's an MOS or?
Military Operations Specialty,
Okay.
which is job title.
Mm-hmm.
And both of them were electronics.
Okay.
So I had, I had those electronic towers, radar. Before you had these cellular phones come out, we had the towers, military did, and then we had the radar. Of course, everything got really upgraded.
Mm-hmm.
But before they I was working in the gigacycle range in the engineer school. You know what a gigacycle is?
Mm-hmm.
That's 1 billion cycles. Now your telephones are in the trillions of cycles a second.
Okay.
Boom, just like, you can't, that wasn't quick enough. For 1 trillion,
Is it to transmit a call or?
Yeah.
Okay.
that's how fast it is.
Okay.
A lot of this technology came from the military.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's talk about your family a little bit. How did you stay in touch with them while you were in all these different places?
Well, mostly letters.
Letters?
Yeah, I write letters. I don't write a letter today. I don't like to write.
You wrote so many while you were
Yeah,
there then.
every day. Even if we didn't have time, you still took the time. Oh, maybe a little note and then put it in the envelope. Oh, hi, how's everything? Bye. Then you put it in the
How many kids did you have at that point?
Only 1 in Vietnam. When I was in Vietnam, there was only 1.
How many did you have eventually?
Total of 3. 1 girl and 2 boys.
Okay. So what was the food like in all the places that you
Oh, it was all right. I didn't mind.
didn't mind?
No.
Did you have plenty of supplies and stuff like that?
Oh, yeah. Well, when I was in Germany on this new field that I went into for engineers, electronics, they didn't have all the equipment to test all the electronics,
Mm-hmm.
transmitters. So I went to the Air Force, Ramstein Air Force Base. They had the equipment that could measure gigacycle, for these electronic district measuring equipment.
Mm-hmm.
The Air Force had it, so I went there to Ramstein. I went to avionics repair shop,
Okay.
and they had a signal generator that could test the frequency because the Air Force was in microwaves,
Mm-hmm.
way up in the microwaves, they measured on these jets. They could take a picture of the Earth, transmit it down to a train. It's just going on, and they would map out everything, the whole curvature of the Earth, just by sending the jet going this way, transmit it down to the train, and they got an ideal map for the Earth. That's how fast it was. And that technology is really improved today with all the satellites that the Air Force has been putting up there.
Did you feel any pressure or stress while you were, away?
No, I knew I was there to
Just pretty calm.
protect the country, especially when I went to Europe. We had this communist threat.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Italy when Czechoslovakia in the 60s, when Czechoslovakia got overrun by the Russians.
Okay.
There was communist Russia then.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody was on edge. We thought we were getting ready to go. And also the Cuban crisis. Russia had missiles pointed at the United States right down here.
The Cuban Missile Crisis.
Yep. And President Kennedy ordered the blockade. And I was in Italy when that happened, and we were ready to go to war over there.
Mm-hmm.
In case something happened over here. Then when he got assassinated, we were ready to go to war over there because we didn't know who did it.
Mm-hmm.
We were put on full alert in Italy both times, Cuban and when he was assassinated, because you don't know where till everything gets settled, and then who's the new president? Somebody's got to be in charge.
Mm-hmm. It's true.
That was a real sad time. I remember.
Yeah. So, what did you do to kind of, when you had free time, to entertain yourself while you were...
Well, I used to, the NCO clubs used to have the top names. Like I met Charlie Pride. I didn't even know he was black until I thought he was thought he was a white singer. And I had a combination up here. I supposed to, you can't write it down, you know. You have to keep it up here until you get to your battalion. And I was trying to remember the numbers, and my driver says, "Hey, Sarge, is that a white guy or a black guy?" I was like, "Well, he sounds like he's white." He says, "No, he's black guy." I said, "What?" he seems pretty good. So anyway, that's how I got to meet Charlie Pride. But he was over there in Germany when after this incident happened, when I had this combination up there.
Okay.
I had to go to France with this, next to the French-German border. Parmesans, if you know. When I was in Italy, you could still see the bullets holes on the buildings. Italy's a very poor country. Then I went to Germany because it's getting low. Huh?
You can keep talking.
Well, anyway, I went to Germany one time, and then I got to see all the history that was made in World War II. I'm a young kid, you know. I'm looking, I said, holy cow. I can see the buildings still blown up. Oh, but when they had the Winter Olympics in Munich, I don't know if you heard about the Munich Olympics, that was on the mountain debris of everything being bombed. Well, anyway, I went to Germany one time, and then I got to see all the history that was made in World War II. I'm a young kid, you know. I'm looking, I said, holy cow. I can see the buildings still blown up. Oh, but when they had the Winter Olympics in Munich, I don't know if you heard about the Munich Olympics, that was on the mountain debris of everything being bombed out during World War II. And Munich is also where the Jewish kids got killed. I don't know if you heard about that or not. That was the dark side of the Winter Olympics back then.
Yeah.
But I got to see it in 1972, where it was in 72. I went through there and I seen the memorial that they put at the Olympic village where the kids were killed.
Okay.
Yeah. After I left Vietnam, then I got stationed there in 73. In Germany again, and then I traveled all around just to see what Germany was like. It was fascinating. Castles, palaces. You could spend 365 days a year and you still won't get it to see all the castles and palaces that they have in Germany. Back in medieval times, if you took the Rhine River, you went down the Rhine, there's a castle there, you had to pay a toll. 200 feet was another
It's like
toll.
a highway with tolls, the castle with tolls.
Each lord of the river there, and there was a castle here, you had to stop there, pay a toll. I traveled on the Rhine when I was at Frankfurt, Germany. The NCO club had a trip. You get on a boat and you go down the Rhine River. Oh, all these castles and palaces. You can't believe how many tolls of people way back in the 12th century had to pay just to travel up the river. I don't know where they got their money back then, but it might have been a penny or something like that, you know.
Okay, so do you recall any particular unusual events or anything funny?
Well, yeah, I was in Heidelberg. We went there to see the lighting of the castle there.
Is this still Germany?
Yeah, in Germany. You know, I seen the castle. Took the wife there. We were sitting on the far side of the river. There's a river. I bought a hibachi. It's a little charcoal. And we were cooking steaks there on in the little park. We were waiting for the lights to come on at dusk, and I didn't have any kids then. Just my wife and I. We were sitting there, and nobody. Germany never saw anybody cook outside on the charcoal. They do now,
Yeah.
and they didn't eat corn back then. Corn on the cob. We were eating corn on the cob, and that's verboten.
You guys are the Americans.
Yeah, because corn is for the animals. But they didn't understand the sweet corn. Just like there's a lot of things that we wouldn't eat over there, or in the Far East, especially in the Far East, that I wouldn't eat over there because I don't want to see. we won't talk about that. I got a little about each country, that I visited. But
So in total, how many places did you go to?
Well, I had 2 tours in Germany, 6 years 6 years plus, 3 years in Italy, 1 year in Vietnam, and 1 year in Korea. Korea back then was just, they are modernized. They look like the United States today. They got rid of these all straw huts. Matter of fact, when I walk in the evening, I met some Vietnamese up here in Altamont.
Okay.
They went back to their country. I guess they can get a visa to go visit there and be able to leave there to come back to their American citizens now, But they went 3 years ago, and they didn't even recognize their country. But I'd like to go back and see.
To Korea?
No, Vietnam.
No, Vietnam.
Yeah, I want to go. I'd like to go back and see what Vietnam looks like, because all I can remember was rice paddies, straw huts, and when the Americans used to throw the cardboard away, the cardboard was that thick.
Oh, okay.
And that's how they ship the beer over there.
Okay. You got to keep the beer safe.
Yeah. Well, they would take the beer cans, even make it a house, stack them on top of each other. I don't know how they.
Got to make do with what you got.
Yeah,
I guess.
and they use the cardboard for the rooftops and some of their sides. And their floor is ground. That's dirt.
Just mud. Yeah.
Yeah. So when it rains, you can imagine how bad it is. But I'd like to see. They told me they have concrete slabs now on their floors, and they modernized.
Yeah. I guess you have to keep up with the times. So
Yeah.
You got to modernize eventually.
Well, but they're still communist, just like China. China, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Everything why now it's made in China.
Do you recall the day that you ended your service, that you retired?
Yeah. Yeah, when I left Huntsville, I said I'm making a mistake. It was hard to readjust coming back into civilian life. Matter of fact, I ended up working for this club back then, but it wasn't here. It was over on the other on 1792.
So it was kind of bittersweet for you to
No,
leave?
I wish I'd stayed in longer.
But you were coming back to your family and everything.
Well, that's true. Yeah, my kids were just starting grade school. They were young. I would have had to yank them out of kindergarten and the first grade, and then take them back to Germany again. I was on my way back to Germany. So.
You said you left you were Huntsville, Germany.
No, Huntsville, Alabama.
Alabama?
Yeah.
Okay. What year was that when you retired?
July 1st, 81.
81?
Yeah.
So what did you do in the weeks and days after we're coping, with being back?
I was still running around the neighborhood up here in Altamont. I ran every night to keep fit in case I was because once you retire, you're not completely retired. You're inactive reserves, and well, I tried to re-enlist when 9/11 happened.
Okay.
But I guess they had enough GIs. Even if I had to drive a forklift or drive a vehicle to the port to load them up or whatever, I was ready to go and help them out.
So did you go back to school or when you came back or?
No, well, I had a lot of schooling, like in real estate. nobody's gonna. And I had plumbing 1, 2, and 3, carpentry 1, 2, and 3.
That was all in the military. You got all that.
Yeah,
Okay.
at the engineer school.
So what was your job when you came out? Like, what did you want to do with your life?
Well, I wanted to go to Valencia to become a manager of a hotel motel. I already had the catering business and the mixologist. Bartender. I was a bartender, mixologist. Catering business, but yeah. The only thing I needed was English 101. I was taking it at Fort Belvoir, and so there was a guy that came from Vietnam there that kind of upset the apple carts when I was at Fort Belvoir, my third time, and he upset. I was taking English 101 then, and that's all I needed to get an associate degree with all the experience I had, and then I come down here and I was going to, because the GI Bill for me was getting ready to run out, so I wanted to get into Valencia to get the degree of accounting. I had it in high school, but that's many years prior. I just wanted to get another degree to go into hotel motel because that's when things were booming. But I never made it there. I went there, but nobody was in the office.
Okay.
So
what did you do instead?
Well, what did I do? Oh, I ended up maintenance at the Langford Hotel, and then a maintenance in an apartment complex, and then I ended up in the hospital, one apartment, Memorial. I worked there for 19 years.
What did you do?
I repaired all the equipment, hospital equipment,
Okay.
beds, surgical beds, SBD, tile. Who's going to hire a nuclear weapons technician back then, So I had to learn the maintenance end. And I did get I had a lot of experience in the military, so I applied it to the civilian life.
What were some of your hobbies that you did?
I used to make furniture. Oh, I used to make figurines for Christmas, Thanksgiving. But my wife kept throwing me away.
Aww. Had you made any friends, long-lasting friends in the military that do you still keep in contact with?
Yeah. One of them I just seen this past April. I was up in Huntsville. First time I've been back.
How was it?
Oh, I didn't even recognize the place. Oh, jeez. Didn't even recognize it. But I was in Tennessee first. I was up there looking for some property. Then I come back down through Huntsville and I met up with one of my friends there. See, I left him there in Huntsville when I retired, and he was still active duty. And then he retired up there, and I ended up working for the city of Huntsville. Then he comes down here for a city convention down in Orlando.
Yeah.
And then he comes over to the house. And then I went back up and saw him. But he's not that.
Oh.
Yeah.
Everybody's getting older.
Yeah, I told him, look, we got to come out. Let's go for a walk, big.
Yeah.
You got to keep that body going. You can't be sitting down in that chair.
So how old were you when you retired?
39.
39? Out of the military?
Yeah, that was too young. Yeah, it was.
You could have stayed. You wanted to
I
stay.
know, but my wife she didn't want me to go to Germany by myself.
She missed you.
Yeah, well, I guess I should have picked the kids up and taken them, because that was a big pay raise too if I had taken it. But I wanted to go by myself. Then, when I put the paperwork in, the military don't let you withdraw that.
Okay.
You gotta go, because the war's over. Remember, in '81.
How did serving in the military affect your life? Like how do you think it made you the person that you are today?
Strong. Yeah, I went through surgery. I know. Oh, yeah. Awesome. On my age, 62. The diabetes, the heart, and then surgery for cancer. And I was always afraid of getting opened up. Well, I didn't feel a thing. I didn't want to get shot neither.
While you were in the military, did you ever have any injuries or?
Well, there was one thing, but I don't remember why I was in the hospital to this day.
So nothing major then.
Well, I was in the hospital for a week up there in Fort Belvoir, outside Washington, D.C.
Okay.
For 1 week, and to this day, I do not know why I was in the hospital.
You never shot or anything, or?
No. I came back from Vietnam when I ended up, so I don't remember what it was that got me. But I know there was people dying around me on the ward that I was on. I said, oh, what the heck's going on here? I don't know. I just woke up one day and I said, where am I? In the hospital. What?